It is mid-May here in Denmark, and that means that lilacs are now blooming everywhere. I'm absolutely in love with lilacs. I love the colors, I love the blossoms, but most of all, I'm completely obsessed with the way they smell. If I'm walking down the street and I pass a blooming lilac, I will absolutely stop and sniff all the blossoms that I can reach, and I don't even care if that's weird. I actually think it's weird to not do it. There's a small street nearby that has lilacs growing on one side of it, and this morning I picked a large bouquet because I just couldn't help myself. They made the whole apartment smell divine. Unfortunately, they only lasted one day in the vase, so I probably won't pick any more, but oh, what a beautiful day that was. As I was sipping on my mango strawberry smoothie, I thought to myself, hey, why don't I take the opportunity to draw some lilac from life? This summer I want to draw outside more often and make more studies from life. Whether or not that will happen remains to be seen. There are all kinds of factors that make drawing outside more challenging, but in this case I have a subject already here, right in front of me, so I took the opportunity. And the best part is, it smells so good. So I started sketching, but pretty soon I got annoyed with my sketch. I did initially want to draw realistic and detailed lilac branch, but I just didn't have the patience to draw every petal and every little blossom that day. I was in the mood for something more quick, fun, and I guess impressionistic, you could say. So I dropped my pencil sketch and switched to markers. I'm always more tempted to jump directly into colors. For this approach, I started with general color blobs that define the silhouette of my subject. I then switch to another color and draw this time smaller blobs. My goal is to narrow down the details as I go, only using shapes. Each layer of colorful blobs brings more and more definition and detail to the sketch, so you start to see the image emerge more and more. I find this a very fun and relaxing way of sketching that works perfectly for a time when I'm not feeling particularly patient. If you haven't tried this, I think you absolutely should. If you don't have markers, you can do it with any kind of paints. Even color pencils will work, I think. You don't need a ton of colors, just 2 or 3 will do the job. And I know it might seem scary to start drawing without a sketch to follow, and it is, but it gets easier and more enjoyable with practice. When you are done layering your blobs, you should have a sketch that is kind of defined. If you showed it to someone, they will probably be able to tell what it is that you drew, and you can stop here if you like, but personally I like to add one final layer of detail using a pen or a color pencil. This is when we add some outlines. But you don't have to outline everything or be very precise with it. I love to have an area of focus where I'd add a lot of detail and an area that appears more blurry, because you just leave it as colorful blobs. I guess you could say that we are going for something of a fake, sketchy depth of field kind of effect, which is something you can do in photography, playing with the aperture or something like that. I'm pretty terrible when it comes to technical terms. After I was a bit more warmed up, I actually felt in the mood to finish my more detailed sketch. This time I tried to be more precise and proper in my strokes and colors. That day was Saturday and it turned out so nice. I don't know if it was the lovely sunrise walk I had in the morning or the lilac aroma all around. but I just felt so happy and relaxed that day, which is not my usual default setting. I think it must have been some combination of a free day, taking it easy, warmth and sun returning. We have finally reached the good half of the year, by my own standards anyway. Summer just feels like everything is lighter and easier. I took a break to make some matcha latte. This was, by the way, my first time ever making it. A few months ago, a friend of ours moved to another country and left us a bunch of his old stuff. And amongst his things, there was this little matcha set. I have no idea what these things are properly called, but I'm talking about the little bowl and bamboo whisk. My apologies for my ignorance. Feel free to let me know what these things are actually called in the comments, because it turns out I'm too lazy to Google it right now. But anyway, I used a bit of agave syrup in it, and for the latte part I used oat milk, because I just like the slightly nutty flavor. I don't like drinks to be too cold, so no ice for me. We still have below 20 degrees Celsius over here, so definitely no ice, and in the future I'd make it without the agave syrup. It was nice, but I prefer it less sweet. Anyway, I'm happy to report that I quite liked it. I wasn't sure it was going to be my cup of tea, but yes it is. And back to the sketching. I was quite done with the details at this point and in the mood for more blobby goodness. So I decided to draw a lilac bouquet using the technique I spoke of earlier. The early stages look incredibly messy, and you have to keep a good mental picture of what it is you're actually going for, especially when your illustration is of something more complex or you have multiple objects interacting with each other. A flower bouquet is relatively simple because it is very easy to hide mistakes and make them seem intentional. So it's a good place to start experimenting if you're curious. When I draw this way, I make use of a phenomenon called pareidolia, or however you pronounce that. It's basically when you see faces in random patterns and objects that don't have any actual faces on them. I think it's something most people have experienced. I'm not sure if everyone can experience it, but it is quite common as far as I know. Basically, your brain likes to make sense of things and will create meaning even in places where there isn't any. It may see an elaborate image in a random pattern of rocks or sand on the beach or clouds and so on. And what's great is we can use this in drawing, where we create random blobs of color. Maybe we are trying to make them look like something, maybe not. But as we go, we start seeing an image there. It may not be exactly what we had in mind, but it is something we can go with. So at the end, when we are adding details with a pen or pencil, what we are actually doing is enhancing those features that kind of look like a real thing, so that we can help whoever else looks at the image see what we are seeing. I hope this makes sense. I actually believe that is what AI images are on maybe a bit more advanced level. You can see it especially in the details of AI images, where there aren't really any details. It's just a mess of colorful blobs, but we perceive them as the fine details we would expect to see in these places. This is how AI can get away with messy, weird hands and weird backgrounds and so on. Anyway, I'm sorry for bringing up AI and ruining the mood, my mood at least. Here are my blobs of color. Hopefully I've managed to fool you into believing that those are actually lilacs. If you are someone who enjoys drawing, I encourage you to try this technique. It's really fun once you let go and really lean into your colorful blobs. It was nice having you here, and I hope to see you back again next time, and until then, have fun!